What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country, daily news in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, and everything you need to know, including the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, and daily news. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button right now so you don't miss out on new videos. Remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. You guys are amazing. We got a lot to talk about here today, so let's jump right in. We got some news on Social Security raises and the latest on what's going on with the Russia conflict. Here we go. The case for expanding Social Security benefits, the Social Security 2100 Act, is getting more and more support and media attention. We've covered this here on the channel, but in case you're not familiar with it, the Social Security 2100 Act would bolster the nearly century-old social insurance program through additions like caregiver credits and increasing minimum benefits. Those minimum benefits would be increased dramatically by increasing the federal poverty limit, which would increase it to 125%, and that means that those who qualify for Social Security and underneath this Social Security 2100 Act would get a minimum guaranteed benefit of $1,341 per month. That's why the Social Security 2100 Act is such a big deal for tens of millions of Americans and seniors on Social Security, because it would be a dramatic raise for millions of Americans. So think about that. Think about if your Social Security check is $800, $900, or $1,000 a month. Imagine if you got a raise that went to $1,341 per month, and it was inflation adjusted as well. In addition to that, going forward, possibly a cost of living adjustment raise and maybe a poverty level raise as well, to the federal poverty line. Now, the interesting thing about this is it actually increases the solvency of Social Security as well. The first kind of thing that comes to mind is, how can they do this? How can they pay out more money when Social Security, the first thing you hear is that Social Security is going to run out of money in the future, right? Well, the interesting thing about this plan is, well, it's all mathematics. So the Social Security 2100 Act, as you can see here, it cuts taxes, strengthens benefits, ensures Social Security through this century. So not only is one of the main benefits is it raises those benefits, but it actually, as you can see here, it ensures Social Security through this century. So one of the other things it does is it adds a Social Security tax to people making over, well, so you can see here, cuts taxes for some people, but it adds a Social Security tax. Potentially, it depends on how they would actually pass the bill, but it would add a Social Security tax to people making over $400,000. So they would pay into Social Security. People that make over $400,000 would start to pay back in to the Social Security pot, and would then pay for Social Security benefits for everybody else. So potentially, you think about people that make many millions or even billions of dollars would pay into Social Security for a lot of money. Right now, the cap on Social Security payroll taxes is $147,000 in 2022. It changes every year with inflation a little bit, but basically in 2022, when you start in 2021, it was 142,800. Now in 2022, it's 147,000. So once you start making over $147,000 in 2022, you stop paying into Social Security. You stop paying Social Security payroll tax. Why is that? Because that's the max. You've hit the max of what you could potentially make in Social Security. So if you made $147,000 every single year, that would be you would hit the maximum benefit for Social Security, which right now is, as you can see here, the maximum benefit depends on the age you retire. For example, if you retire at full retirement age in 2022 and you maxed out those benefits every single year, and you made that 147,000, or the year before 142,000, and the year before that was probably 140,000. If you made that maximum amount every year, your maximum benefit would be $3,345. However, if you retire at age 62 in 2022 and you took those Social Security benefits early, your maximum benefit would be only $2,364. So you're actually getting about $1,000 a month less by retiring early at 62 instead of your full retirement age. Now, if you wait till age 70, in 2022, your maximum benefit would be $4,194. So that's, what is that? That's almost, what is that, about $800 or $900 more. So wow, if you actually wait till age 70, you're almost at $4,200 a month. But again, that's if you max out the amount of Social Security payroll taxes every year. You have to make a lot there. But one of the proposals here is to these high income earners is to make them start paying back into the Social Security system, but they wouldn't get any benefit for it. Okay, so basically at that 147,000, they would stop paying in, but if they make over 400,000, then they would start paying back in again, but they would get no benefit for it. Okay, so for people that make millions and millions of dollars, or even billions of dollars, okay, they'd be paying in all along the way there, okay, all along the way every year. They'd be putting a lot of money into the system, all those people, right? And all that money would go into the pot, into the Social Security pot, and would be distributed just in the pot, right? And they could use all that extra money to pay out the benefits to everybody else and keep the system solvent, right? So this is just kind of one part of the plan, right? But just kind of explaining to you some of the ideas on how they could fund the raises for Social Security, right? Another way they could do it is really just, well, one, give back the money that Congress borrowed from Social Security with interest. Think about all that interest, right? Number two is they can just fund with a stimulus package, give the money to Social Security. Honestly, think about all the money that Congress just, whether it's Democrat or Republican, remember Republican President Donald Trump, his first stimulus package alone was $2.3 trillion. Biden's first and only stimulus package was $1.9 trillion. They spend money like, on it for anything. They spent money for banks when banks were in trouble. When we go back to the 2008, 2009 financial crisis, when GM and Ford were in trouble, money. Airlines are in trouble, money. Who's kidding who? If Social Security ever actually gets in trouble, they'll just bail them out. Just give them some money, right? I mean, with $30 trillion in debt, in 1990, we were about $3 or $4 trillion in debt. In another 20 or 30 years, it's going to be 50 or 60 trillion dollars. It's kind of at this point just a fictitious number that's just going to, at some point, it's going to be 100 trillion. Does it really matter? Inflation's high right now, but a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, inflation was normal. Inflation's really just kind of high right now because we're coming out of the recession, So realistically, in about a year, inflation will probably be back to normal. The $30 trillion in debt really is just it's just going to keep growing. It's just how it is. Remember, a year ago it was 29 trillion. 2 years ago it was 27 trillion, and inflation was normal back then. It's just kind of how the national debt goes. But if you're going to, spend all this money, print all this money anyways, you might as well use it for your people, right? You think about all the seniors on Social Security, people that are disabled, people that are on fixed income, people that have already worked for 30 or 40 years, 30 plus years, 40 plus years, right? Um, they're the backbone of our country, right? I mean, you got to think that if anybody needs support, it's them, right? So if the debt's going to be 30 trillion, in a few years it's going to be 35 trillion, in a few years it's going to be 40 trillion. I mean, if you're going to do anything, you might as well support the own people of the United States, right? Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But I mean, again, this plan is actually funding itself. It's not even adding to the debt. I was just kind of, just kind of explaining a couple things there about the debt. But really, this Social Security plan is going to fund itself through the payroll taxes here. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, again, um, Social Security has been in need of a raise for many, many years. It's been an unchanged plan for a long, long time. There's so many people on fixed income that are in desperate need right now. With this inflation is really hitting people hard, and people have been on fixed income for a long time. And also, when a lot of people on fixed income get a cost of living adjustment, it takes away a lot of their benefits, which is absolutely insane. We need to get a bill to change that here, but you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Also, we've been so overwhelmed with Russia-Ukraine news, but a jury found the three other officers involved in the George Floyd death guilty here. The other three former police officers in Minneapolis who were accused of violating civil rights of George Floyd, the black man who died when he was pinned down by the white Minneapolis police officer for close to 10 minutes, were found guilty by a jury on Thursday. The former officers were each charged with deprivation of rights under color of law for depriving the right of medical care to Floyd while he was pinned down by their colleague, Officer Derek Chauvin. They were also charged with failing to intervene when excessive force was used by Chauvin to stop Floyd. The sentencing date for the three officers has not yet been set, but until then, all three will be allowed to remain free on bond. All three could face up to life in prison, though. Quote, today's verdict recognizes that two police officers violated the Constitution by failing to intervene to stop another officer from killing George Floyd. And three officers violated the Constitution by failing to provide aid to Mr. Floyd in time to prevent his death, Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement. Also, there have been more calls to block Russia from the SWIFT financial sanctions. Not all countries are on board with this, and this would be what they consider the nuclear option, the number one biggest sanction they could do, which would basically block Russia from what they call the SWIFT financial institutions around the world. If they do this, it would be a major, major blow to Russia, the number one sanction they could do. And there's growing support for this. Check this out. It's not just something the US can do. As you can see here, Russia being locked out of the SWIFT financial payment network has become more likely after the country of Cyprus has now agreed with the proposal. There have been calls for Russia to be shut out of the system, which facilitates cross-border payments. It is thought that doing so will increase pressure on Russia's businesses and its economy, and is largely considered to be the number one sanction, what some people call the nuclear sanction. It's not actually a nuclear bomb or anything like that, but it's a nuclear. It's just kind of an analogy, right? It's one of the biggest sanctions they could do. The move was announced on Twitter by Ukrainian foreign minister, who has also spoken to Italy, Germany, and Belgium, where SWIFT is based. President Zelensky said he had a call on Saturday morning from the Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi to say the move had his backing as well. While a smaller European nation, Cyprus's backing is significant because it has a major destination, because it is a major destination for a Russian investment. However, I don't believe Germany is backing this yet, because Germany has ties to Russia. Germany is willing to do some sanctions, including the SWIFT or the Nord 2 pipe stream, um, the gas line. But this, as I said, the SWIFT would be one of the biggest sanctions they could do. But there's growing support for this now as we see the Russia invasion, how severe it is, that they're literally just in their full force and looking to just take over the country. And basically everything Putin said was a lie, that he was pulling back his forces. And remember, he also said he doesn't want to occupy the country. We'll see if that's true. Um, so there's been all this kind of stuff that he told the world that just were flat out lies. So there's so many different countries that are already sanctioning him, and a lot of countries are, the U.S. can't control the SWIFT. Okay, as you just heard there. Um, but if that happens, it would be a severe blow to Russia. And a lot of billions of dollars from Russia is kind of frozen in these foreign banks, and the U.S. says that there's billions of dollars they've frozen as well. So they're already taking a massive hit here. So the question here is it going to be worth it for them? And then what's going to happen? First of all, what's going to happen here with the whole war, and then also how is it going to play out, and what's going to happen afterwards? Yeah, let me know your thoughts here. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country, this whole Russia situation, how it's going to affect us here at home, the price of oil, the price of gas, inflation, stimulus news, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. So make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. Remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll keep you up to date here with everything. You can click here to watch my newest video next, or you can click here to watch my newest video on another video, details on Social Security raises, SNAP raises, and pandemic EBT raises. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.